I would like to inform you about the results of our qualitative study on social participation and dementia. Our research team of the Radboud UMC in Nijmegen in the Netherlands consists of Hanneke Donkers. She is the PhD student within this project. Maud Graf, she is the project leader and supervisor. And my name is Dinja van der Veen. I'm a research assistant. I am an occupational therapist and sociologist. And within this study, I've been the research assistant. Oh, I've got an important part. The financing has done by the Alzheimer Association in the Netherlands. First of all, I would like to inform you something about social participation. The definition is a person's involvement in activities that provide interaction with others in society or community, and is associated with physical and mental health, well-being, and positive social behavior, and is a domain of social health. The World Health Organization advocates improvement in social participation and endorses this research area. One question stands out. Central theme of good quality of social dementia care is also an important issue on social participation. Only there have been not a lot of studies on the effectiveness on interventions which are aimed at promoting social participation. So it's an endorsed research theme. Only one question stands out: how is social participation perceived? So that has been our research questions, and I'm going to tell you about the results. How do people with cognitive problems and their caregivers perceive social participation, and what factors are of influence on their social participation? To answer these questions, we have conducted a qualitative explorative study, and I've been doing semi-structured in-depth interviews with dietes. I'm going to tell you something more about it because it's not that easy getting these information. I started the interview with asking people, what do you do on daily basis? What do you do in the weekend? To get people to speak and to get in terms of activities. That was sometimes a hard question to answer for those people with memory problems. So I sometimes needed another question. So I asked them, what did you do? What did you enjoy? What was your occupation? What were your hobbies? To get them speaking in the activities. This study is embedded in a research related to user-oriented development of a social fitness program. I come back to that later. So the people I interviewed were dietes, consisting of community-dwelling older people with cognitive problems and a caregiver who provides assistance at least once a week. And they wish to remain or increase their level of social participation. Well, the social fitness program, only a quick glance, is coaching and training to enable people to participate in social activities again. And it can be on different levels. It can be just reading the newspaper, so you have something to talk about when you see people in the supermarket, until being politically active. So, the results. As I told you, one of the elements was the participation, so of the perception. How do people, what's the perception of people on social participation? First of all, diets experience a reduction in social activities and roles. all clients told to me they experience this, and most caregivers also, especially when married to the client. I asked them, how satisfied are you with your social participation? And 11 out of 13 people with cognitive problems were satisfied, and 10 out of 13 caregivers were. One client told me, I think the contacts I currently have are pleasant. I oversee them. I do not want all my days to be full anymore. But 8 caregivers were dissatisfied with social participation, but not their own social participation, but the participation of the significant other. So, moving on, which factors influence the social participation of people with dementia? One of them is a behavioral factor. This factor goes both ways. It can be a facilitator and can be a barrier. Not accepting less activity, taking initiative, and managing cognitive decline can promote social participation. Accepting less activity because it comes with the age, not taking any initiative, or not being able to manage cognitive decline are risk factors for social participation. So can not managing cognitive decline can be because they forget appointments or forget names, which they also told me it was important. The other influencing factor is a physical factor. So it can be mobility related, because in sort of risk of falling, and physical problems like hearing problems. The third factor is the social environmental factor, and can also go both ways. When other people lack initiative or don't understand what's happening, or when people lose others because friends pass away. But also social environmental factor could enlarge social participation when others do take initiative. So when a grandchild goes over to their grandparents and go buy ice cream, or when people do understand what happens. Another influencing factor is the physical environmental. Also goes both ways. Weather can be promotive, nice weather, lovely sunshine to go out, and the other factor is transportation. Last factor is activity related and consists of experiences. When people have experience in being active, it's easier to pick up on that when in case of dementia. Preconditions are preconditions like time, is the time convenience, costs, but also location, and what other participants are doing the activity, and evaluation. That also can go both ways. Some people have positive evaluate the activity, or negatively, like this client who told me, I do not want to play games, I just don't like playing games. Or a caregiver that told me that activity is something she likes, it's the highlight of her week. So that's a quick glance of our results. I don't think we have time for discussion, but there's always point for discussions. I would rather go to questions. I don't know if anyone has questions. Or I can put these on and we can discuss, but you can also ask questions.
So does anybody have any questions about the presentation? Maybe it would be interesting to just to discuss a few of the components you put there. We still have 5 minutes.
Okay. I'm going to pick one. What we saw might be, I thought it might have raised some questions that some people, especially when married, the clients are satisfied with level of social participation, but 8 of our central caregivers told us we are not satisfied with the social participation level of the client the person we take care of. We thought that was questioning why.
So they have higher expectancies towards the person which is cared for, and for them.
They want the other person to be more socially active because they know and they see that when people are, it has a positive influence on their well-being. So that's why central caregivers told us we would like our clients the persons we care for to be more socially active. Okay. And they also are less socially active, but they don't have a question to enlarge it because they said, well, I'm just accepting I am not, my social participation has decreased. Mm-hmm. They said, I lower my standards because before I was also sort of socially active. I did a lot of things, but because the person I care for sits home more often, I have to also. I accept it.
Please.
It was just the quote, I am not bored, it's all right. When I've spoke to people with dementia, some people have talked about they've maybe just been sitting in a chair and just drifted off and time has passed, but they themselves are not concerned, they're not bored, they're not tired, and it's to understand that the person with dementia is content. Sometimes the carer looking on is more upset because they're thinking they should be doing things, so to get that across that sometimes it's usually why when you split the carer and the person with dementia into separate rooms, the people with dementia are laughing and joking and the carers are in the other room crying. It's just what happens. Thank you.
I do recognize what you're saying. People are, as I told, to get into the program, there needs to be a wish to enlarge their social participation or stay at the same level. But clients often accept it. Like I said, 11 out of 13 persons just accepted it. But when they do interact some more, because okay, I'm gonna go, I'm gonna settle, then they do experience the positive influence it has. So it's kind of a shame that they sometimes need to be, convinced.
I think it's the quality of the activity. If they do less activity, the activity they do is of good quality and enjoyable.
Yes, and it's all part of life history. Getting connected to what was used to be a preference or an activity they enjoyed, yes.
Got one more question, and then I think we'll pass to the next presentation.
Were there any indications that when you asked the people with cognitive problems, are you satisfied with your social interaction, that their answers were about their pasts instead of present experiences? Because it seems to me it's very surprising that 11 out of 13 people were satisfied, and at the same time, when they do engage in social activities, you see signs of well-being. So what is your interpretation of their answers to your question?
Yes, we have different hypotheses about these issues. People do acknowledge that their social activity level has decreased. So they do say, okay, I used to go out and now I'm all days just sitting home. They do experience it. They do know it when you go into that. Not when you ask the direct question, they don't know. But when I'm doing these interviews, I get this data. But there are so many factors. I think also the outside is kind of dangerous. Sometimes people don't feel comfortable anymore. The demanding situations they get in, they get insecure. They feel the grip is falling out of. Yes, it's slippery behind the front door. I guess that's one of them. There are so many things that influence it. Yes.
Thank you very much.